Welcome to another edition of Sports Daily, exclusively on sportsnetamerica.com. Mike Curci and Tim Bassett with you. And Tim, we'll talk about the NFL playoffs coming up this weekend and the matchups. And first of all, we'll start with Baltimore and Tennessee. And Baltimore, let me tell you, Rex Ryan, what a job he's doing. He's confusing the heck out of the offenses, defensive coordinator for Baltimore. It's going to be interesting what he comes up with here. He's got the players to do it. He changes schemes not only every week, but a number of times during games, too. It's going to be very interesting. I think Baltimore can upset, and that's going to be my pick.
Well, Baltimore is so ferocious. If you watched the ball game last night, they just intimidated. They intimidate the teams they play against. They had no chance of beating Baltimore. And they're not a team that I really like because they don't score a lot of points, but they do play hard-nosed defense. And when you get out on the field, you know you're in a ball game with them. Kerry Collins has had a pretty good year for the Titans. They started off, looked like they might go undefeated. They've slowed down a little bit, but they're still a pretty good football team. And based on what I've seen the last couple of weeks, though, if the Baltimore defense can get to Kerry Collins, they have a tendency to have him, make him have the happy feet, so to speak, and he starts throwing the ball around the field, just like happened the other day. And so I think Baltimore can win that game.
Well, listen, Baltimore won a Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer at quarterback, and he was basically just minding the shop back there. Absolutely. Now they have a quarterback who can really throw the ball, really stepped up. Former Delaware star Joe Flacco, and it just goes to show you, it doesn't matter where you come from. You don't have to come from a Notre Dame or a USC or one of the big name schools. He's a blue hen getting it done down in Baltimore, and boy, he's going to be a good one.
Yeah, you got to really like him. Flacco is unflappable, so to speak. He doesn't make mistakes. He reads defenses very well. I mean, he's one of the first rookies in a long time to start all 15 games, and he manages the ball club very well. Like I said, they don't score a lot of points, but he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. And then when you have a defense like that always giving you good field position, they get a lot of turnovers in the game. They got so many turnovers yesterday, got 4 interceptions, and this is a ball club that's always putting you in a position to win. All he has to do is not make mistakes, keep him within at least field goal range, and Baltimore has a chance to win all the time with that kind of offense and the way he plays.
Well, the way you're talking, you're going with Baltimore too?
I like Baltimore in this game.
So there we go. Baltimore, we say moving on here. How about Arizona and Colorado? Carolina, check that. It could be Colorado. Listen, from a standpoint of really who wants to watch these games, this would be the last one that I think I'd want to watch. And, listen, Arizona has really stepped it up. Got to give credit to Kurt Warner down in Arizona. Fitzgerald's a nice player to watch. I actually did see the game over the weekend and was impressed with the Cardinals. But I think, as far as them moving on past Carolina, I'm not so sure here. What do you think?
They are who we thought they were.
Thank you, Dennis Green.
Yes, sir. The Arizona Cardinals, 8-8. What more can you say about this ball club? They were in a division that was not a strong division, and by virtue of that, they won the division title, and there they are in the playoffs. And guess what? They squeaked by with a victory the other day.
But didn't the Falcons hand it to them a little bit here?
It doesn't matter. When you get in the playoffs, you'll take them any way you can get them, and it's the least amount of resistance, so to speak. The Arizona Cardinals did make as many mistakes as the Atlanta Falcons did. The Falcons were a better team, but Arizona Cardinals were lucky enough to pull that victory out and move on to the next round.
Now, as far as young quarterbacks are concerned, boy, that kid down in Atlanta was exceptional this year. It's nice. We've been waiting for a good crop of young quarterbacks to come through, and we've seen some highly touted quarterbacks over the years. Come into the NFL and just not get it done. It's not an easy position to play. That's why, to me, it's amazing that you can have not one but two players like a Flacco, like a Ryan, step in and lead their teams as far as they have. And the potential stars, we're looking possibly at the Elway and Mannings of the future here.
I would like to think so. He's an intelligent kid. He's had a very, very good season. He's also got some talent around him. He's got some great receiving cores where he can get the ball out to these guys and they do things with it after they catch it. You're right. They gave the game to the Arizona Cardinals. I don't like to say that in the playoffs because those things happen. That's what the playoffs are. And if you're not ready to play, or if you don't, keep it mistake-free, then those kinds of things can happen. They should have beaten the Arizona Cardinals. But, Ryan's going to be a good quarterback. He had a great season, and the Atlanta Falcons have to be happy coming off the Michael Vick situation to be lucky enough to get another quarterback who can step in there and do what he did for him this year.
San Diego and Pittsburgh. San Diego 4-8, wins 4 in a row, wins their division after beating Denver, going 8-8, and they looked like a much better team than 8-8 and winning their 5th in a row last weekend. I mean, that was an impressive effort. They look great. And how about Sproles? I mean, you have LaDainian Tomlinson, one of the best in the business, not being able to play much, and Sproles is a spark plug, great player. That's a fun team to watch. I like the San Diego team. I think it's going to be a great game.
I think they may be the most talented team in the league. They lost Merriman and LaDainian Thompson. I thought was going to be the same thing like last year, and he played 2 plays and then didn't play anymore. But then they had the young fella come off the bench and do what he did for them. They're winning in spite of North Turner,
Oh, you think so? Come on. Now, Norv's done a pretty decent job and for this year, for Norv. Okay. All right? Now, he didn't make any mistakes to lose the game, but I thought he coached a pretty good game. But it also helps, and, I was watching the game the other night, and I'm saying San Diego got the ball, went down, they scored a touchdown, and they really did a great job. But I think one of the keys was their special teams and their their punting game. Late in the game, when they knocked that ball, went out of bounds at the 1-yard line, and they kept Indianapolis back, having to go a long way to get that score. That was one of the keys to the game that nobody's going to write about next day. But there's no question that when coaches look at that and look at the keys to the game, instead of the ball being at the 20, instead of Manning having the ball 80 yards away, he's 99 yards away.
That's exactly right. Special teams play certainly a huge part of playoff picture, and San Diego had some great plays all throughout the game with their special teams. They were hitting hard on kickoffs and punt returns, and so they kept themselves in a position to be in the ball game. That was a huge play to put Peyton Manning back on the 1-yard line. When you got to go the length of the field in that short amount of time, it's a little tough even when you're Peyton Manning, most valuable player in the league. I had picked the Colts to win that game, to be honest with you. I mean, he was on such a roll. I thought that they would win, but San Diego showed me something, and they were able to put Indianapolis away.
All right, now how about the scenario with Pittsburgh and this game? I think San Diego's got a shot to get it done.
Yeah, but Pittsburgh defense reminds me of the Ravens defense. They are all out of salt, and they beat you up every single time they play you. And they have a little bit better offense than the Baltimore Ravens do. So Pittsburgh is easily my pick to come out of the AFC.
I can't believe I was sitting here defending Norv Turner. What's up with that? Let's go back to Pittsburgh. Ben Roethlisberger off the concussion, back. Will it have any effect?
Certainly will have an effect. It's going to take the first time he gets hit or the first contact he gets to make him feel comfortable and, okay, maybe I'm okay and I'm going to be out here. The worry is anytime you have a concussion. I mean, always since he's had the motorcycle accident, he's been knocked out a couple of times in the course of the season. So you always worry about that. But I was watching a feature where they had some of the old veterans who played in this league, and they talk about when you get to the playoffs, you play. I don't care. And everybody in the league plays with pain. They have some kind of injury or some kind of bugaboo that's bothering them. And so, I expect him to go out there and beat Ben Roethlisberger.
All right, who wins that game?
I got the Steelers all the way.
Steelers all the way. I like San Diego. We'll find out next week who's on top here. And we'll find out next week, too, about the Eagles and the Giants. Now, listen, the Eagles came in not too long ago, knocked the Giants off at the Meadowlands. If you are a Giants fan, you would have preferred Kurt Warner in Arizona making the trip up here. But that wasn't the case once this got done down in Philadelphia, beating Minnesota. Donovan McNabb, the 5-time Pro Bowler, looks like he's back on his game again. You have Westbrook, Dawkins on defense, and Andy Reid and his staff are very good. And, I don't think it's going to be easy. I think the Giants are going to win, but it's not going to be an easy task.
Well, if you're the defending Super Bowl champion, you take on all comers. I can't imagine that they were sitting around, saying to themselves, "Well, I sure hope the Cardinals come up here so we can have an easy."
I think from their standpoint, they might have been saying to themselves, "We'd like to have Philly in our building again. We want them back. We want to get back at them." And I think that's the kind of attitude that Manning and Coughlin and those guys have. I'm not sure that they were sitting there waiting to see Arizona come in. You agree?
I would hope that. I would hope that's the way they feel. The best always want to beat the best. And you don't want anyone to say that you skirted your way to the Super Bowl. These are the defending Super Bowl champions. I did not expect them to have the season that they had this year. I thought by losing Strahan, I thought with Ubanora going down, I thought Plaxico Burress going out. They've had any number of reasons to fold at any time if they wanted to. But they haven't. They have stayed strong, and they're certainly the class of the NFC. I don't care who comes to the Meadowlands. I just don't think you're going to beat the Giants.
All right, fair enough. That's a look at the NFL for this week. The playoffs coming up right here on Sports Daily. Mike Curci, Tim Bassett. We'll see you again soon.